Alright, welcome back to the Seriously Ghetto workshop, which you can see is a mess again. Believe it or not, I've had this cleaned up twice since the last video. I got the physical part of the build done a little while ago, and I wanted to share a few things while it's still fresh in my mind. I made some mistakes along the way here, and quite a few things that I really could have done better. First has to do with motors and ESCs. I had no idea how hard it was going to be to solder, or really not the soldering, the tinning of the motor wires. I finally got that worked out for the last one. I didn't cut the motor wires. I trimmed down the ESC wires and used the pre-tinned motor wires. Now if you're really good at soldering, which I just learned today that Richard's actually a silversmith, so this is probably pretty easy for him, but some of us don't have really that level of skill. I may get there someday, but I doubt if I'll ever get as good as him. But so that was one thing. The other thing is every one of these arms is a little bit different. The ESCs aren't in the same place. There's little things that really could be a whole lot better, and there's no good reason they shouldn't be. I chalk this up to learning that this is version 1. There will be a version 2 when I replace parts and redo some things. This is my first time through. I intend to get it to fly, but it won't be long after that. I'll be replacing a few parts and redoing some things that I wish I had done differently this time. One of those is that I ran all the wires underneath the power distribution board. Now I wish I hadn't done that, because that's where Richard puts the receiver, and I don't know if you can see it here or not. I had to put it up here to make some place for it to be. By doing that, I kind of didn't leave myself any place to put a video transmitter. Pardon me. And that's okay too. I didn't plan on doing video with this or FPV, at least not yet. I plan to eventually. I want to get it ready and be able to, but right now I just want it to fly. Now, I also, a couple of things I learned, putting this little box together on front is kind of tricky, and it's even more so if you run your wires wrong. I don't know if you can see those or not, but I ran them up there. Again, that all goes back to an original mistake of a bad decision on how I wired up my PDB. I'll be doing that different next time. It'd been a little easier, but it's still kind of tricky. And one of the things I did, I disconnected my camera to get it a little easier to move things around, and when I did so, I got it together, but now it's not connected and I can't get in there without taking it apart. I probably won't bother this time. I've got this little 200 microwatt, or yeah, I think it's microwatts, receiver here, and it's got plenty of wire and all that, but the camera works, but it's not mounted very good. I'm going to have to work out something else for securing that, because that wouldn't be very good at all. Let's see, there was something else here. Oh, on the revision 6 of the NACE 32, 5-volt power is what you need with these ESCs on channel 6, which I've got up here, and you probably can't see that in there too good. I'm sorry about that, but that's got to come off before I hook up a battery in Cleanflight. Now it's okay with just a battery, but when I hook up Cleanflight, I have to disconnect that. I'm assuming that's so it won't have two power sources going to the board. Richard told me unhook it. I can get it off, but again, I'll have to take this little box apart to get it back on. I need to think about that when I redo things. I put these pins on. I used the angle pins thinking that was going to be better, but really I probably would have been better off maybe using the straight pins here, and also for where my receiver connects in. That's probably not going to last long. It would probably fit right here up and down, and I think that would have been better. And again, if this receiver wasn't here, there'd be even a little more room for the wires and stuff. That's something I'll be changing the next time around. I may try to desolder these pins. I don't know. I'm not very good at it. And I don't want to mess up the board. These NACE 32 boards are fairly inexpensive. I can probably just get another one easier. And I'm going to look at a different power distribution board too, something that I got a couple of things in mind for my next go through. I'll probably buy new motors. Probably buy new ESCs too, if you want to know the truth. Richard showed me where to get these little B 20 amp ESCs. They're only 11 bucks a piece. Maybe a little while. I mean, I'm going to fly this some, but this is not a finished product. This is my learning experience, and I kind of wanted to share it with you. One thing I did that I think worked out pretty good, my power comes in the back here. That's where the battery plugs in. I ran it under here and came out of the front, so it's all the way out of the way with these slider landing gear. It's up off of it. It won't get hit. I got to work out something else too for covering these arms up. They're just this is ugly, and I don't want it to be that way, and I want it to be covered better. I know I've seen Richard's. I'm pretty sure his get covered all the way out to the motor screws, but I don't know how he gets the landing gear on because the screw on top turns. Yeah, I haven't worked it out. I'll get that figured out. At any rate, it is alive. I plugged the battery into it, got the receiver to bind. There's a radio that comes with it. It's a FlySky i6. Yeah, i6. That's the radio that comes with it. It's pretty good deal, all things considered. I mean, this kit was very inexpensive. So I also managed to bind this Tyrannus or FreeSky X8R, and that might actually fit in there now where I've got, but I still don't know what I'd do about these antennas. They got these funky paddle antennas out of the front. I don't know what I'm going to do about that, but sooner or later I'm going to use this. I did bind it and with S-Bus, so I know that part's working too, and I'd kind of like to do that because then I only need one wire for the transmitter or the receiver cable there. Trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, as I was going along, now I've had a couple of guys tell me that their motor wires didn't have that coated copper wire in there, that they were able to tin them up and solder and had no problem at all. I had no idea how difficult that was going to be. I actually spent just a couple of days just getting these motors and ESCs put together without messing them up. Pardon me. But I saved all my little bits of wire here, so I've got some to mess with, because that was a real, I don't have anything like a good technique for it yet, but I'm hoping by the time I run out of these I will, because that's something I've got to be able to do. If I get motors that aren't coated, that's fine. I mean, I wouldn't mind trimming them down a little bit, but in the meantime, the ESC wires are not coated. They were really easy to tin. I had a little bit of wire left over on the motors, but it was easy enough to take up the slack in here after I was done, and this one went real easy, number 4 here. That was easy. That's kind of how I thought they'd all be, and really if I'd kept it simple from the beginning, it probably would have been. So anyhow, that's a little bit of what I had to share. Richard's going to be busy for a couple of days, and I'm pretty wore out anyway, so in a couple of days we're going to get together and talk about radios and Cleanflight and see if we can get this thing through school, and then hopefully a maiden, and I'll share that with you then. Thanks for watching. See you next time.